kill your laziness. We all have moments when we feel stuck, when it seems like the weight of the world is pressing on our shoulders and the easiest thing to do is nothing. But let me tell you something, doing nothing is the quickest way to kill your potential. Laziness isn't just about avoiding hard work. It's about putting off the things that matter, the things that move you forward. It's the silent thief that steals your time, your energy, your future. And here's the truth, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to do it for you. If you want success, if you want progress, you have to grab it by the horns and take action. You know the feeling, the urge to stay comfortable, to put off the difficult task until later. But let me ask you, what is later, really? Later is just a lie we tell ourselves to avoid discomfort. We think we have time, but time is a thief that doesn't give second chances. Every moment you waste is a moment you'll never get back. So, kill your laziness. Rip it out by the roots. Stop letting the fear of failure or the comfort of procrastination hold you back. You don't have time to wait. You don't have time to overthink. You only have right now. Look around you, life is happening right now. And while you're sitting there waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect circumstances, others are already moving forward. They're working, they're fighting for their dreams. And when you wake up to realize that time has passed you by, they're going to be way ahead. But you can change that today. You want success? You want to be the best version of yourself? Then stop thinking about it. Stop analyzing it. Stop wondering when it will happen. Make it happen. I'm not talking about big leaps that will overwhelm you. Start small. Start with something you've been putting off. But do it now. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for someone to tell you you're ready. You're ready now. You don't need perfect conditions to start, you need courage. Courage to fight that inner voice telling you to relax, telling you to wait. Courage to step out of your comfort zone, even when it feels uncomfortable. The hardest part? Starting. Once you start, it's all momentum. Each small victory builds on the next, and before you know it, you're in a flow you didn't think possible. You're moving faster than you ever imagined. And that's the key. Action creates momentum. So make a decision today to stop letting laziness control you. Commit to showing up. Commit to doing the work. Commit to building a life of purpose and strength. You're capable of so much more than you think. Now go out there and kill your laziness. Become the person you were meant to be. Laziness is something that often creeps up on us unnoticed and subtle, and before we know it, it has taken root and is preventing us from reaching our full potential. It doesn't always announce itself as laziness. Sometimes it shows up as procrastination, the habit of putting things off or delaying tasks until they seem impossible to tackle. The first step in fighting it is not to blame ourselves or shame ourselves for being stuck, but rather to acknowledge that it's happening. When you begin to notice that you're procrastinating or avoiding tasks you know are important, it's crucial to reflect on why that's happening. Laziness often masks itself as something more palatable. I need a break, I'm too tired, or I'll do it later. These excuses create a cycle where you feel justified in not acting, but that cycle only leads to stagnation and missed opportunities. Recognizing the patterns that lead to inactivity is essential for breaking free from them. Whether it's scrolling endlessly on social media, distracting yourself with menial tasks, or falling into a state of overwhelm, you need to spot the behavior before it snowballs into something larger. It's easy to deny or ignore this issue, but by doing so, you're only delaying your own progress. When you admit that laziness is holding you back, you take the first empowering step toward regaining control. Awareness is the key. Once you understand that laziness is not just about not working, but about a deeper reluctance to take action, you can confront it head-on and begin to reshape your habits. This awareness creates the space for you to change. Because the moment you admit the problem, you're no longer passive, you're active in deciding how to approach your goals. It puts you in the driver's seat of your life, where you can finally take charge of your choices. By acknowledging laziness as the barrier it is, you can build the mental and emotional readiness to move past it and toward your ambitions. When you choose inaction, you're not just losing time, you're losing opportunities, momentum, and precious chances to grow. Each minute that you waste sitting idle is time that could have been spent moving closer to your goals. Time is a finite resource, and once it's gone, you can never retrieve it. Every second of delay is a second that could have been used to learn something new. improve your skills, or take a step toward achieving your dreams. By choosing to remain inactive, you're sacrificing your future for the comfort of the present. The cost of inaction goes beyond the immediate moment of laziness. It creates a ripple effect, delaying your progress and hindering your ability to achieve what you truly want. Opportunities that are not seized can slip through your fingers, leaving you wondering what might have been. Whether it's a job opportunity, a chance to build relationships, or a new project that could elevate your career, inaction keeps you from stepping into those possibilities. Inaction also leads to stagnation. While you're sitting still, others around you are moving forward, taking action, and making progress. The world doesn't pause for anyone. If you fail to act, you risk falling behind, and this can create a widening gap between where you are now and where you want to be. It's easy to justify putting things off, but every delay only builds a larger barrier to success, pushing your goals further out of reach. In contrast, action is the driving force behind success. Every time you take a step, no matter how small, you're investing in your future. Action moves you forward, and progress is the result of consistent, focused effort. The longer you avoid taking action, the more difficult it becomes to get back on track. Time doesn't wait, and your goals don't wait. Without action, you can't achieve your dreams. You can't get results from nothing. Only by actively pursuing what you want can you make real, measurable progress. The true cost of inaction is not just a loss of time, it's the loss of everything that could have been achieved if only you had taken the first step. The longer you stay inactive, the higher the price you pay. Waiting for the perfect moment is one of the greatest barriers to progress. We often convince ourselves that the conditions need to be just right, that we need more preparation, more resources, or more confidence before we can take the first step. But here's the hard truth: perfection is an illusion. The idea that there is a flawless time to begin is nothing more than a trap that keeps you stuck in inaction. If you keep waiting for everything to align perfectly, you'll be waiting forever. There will always be something else to wait for: a better plan, more time, fewer distractions, but the truth is that life doesn't work that way. The perfect moment doesn't exist because life is unpredictable. You can't control every factor, and often the best way to learn and grow is by jumping into the mess of things and figuring it out as you go. Waiting for the right time means you're allowing fear and uncertainty to rule your decisions. It's a cycle where you keep talking yourself out of action, telling yourself you'll start tomorrow, next week, or after you finish something else. But tomorrow never comes. Instead of waiting for conditions to be perfect, start where you are. The right time is right now. It doesn't matter if you don't have everything figured out. What matters is that you begin. Every step you take, even if it's imperfect, brings you closer to where you want to be. Progress isn't about waiting for the perfect conditions. It's about moving, learning, and evolving with each action you take. When you start, you learn as you go. You build experience, refine your methods, and discover what works and what doesn't. The journey becomes part of the process, and that's where real growth happens. If you're constantly waiting for the perfect moment, you miss out on the lessons that come from taking imperfect action. So, let go of the fantasy of perfection, embrace the messiness of starting, and take the leap. It's only by moving forward that you'll make progress, not by waiting for everything to fall into place. One of the biggest reasons we procrastinate or feel paralyzed by laziness is the sheer size of a task in front of us. When a goal or project feels too overwhelming, it's easy to avoid starting altogether because we don't know where to begin or how to tackle it all. The weight of an enormous task can create a mental block. And that sense of being overwhelmed often leads to putting it off, which only builds more anxiety. However, the key to overcoming this is breaking the task down into smaller, manageable steps. Instead of focusing on the daunting end result or the entire scope of the task, focus on the individual components that need to be completed. By breaking things down, the goal becomes less intimidating. You don't have to think about the overwhelming whole, just the next small step in front of you. It's like climbing a mountain. You don't look at the peak and let it scare you. You focus on putting one foot in front of the other, knowing that every step gets you closer to the top. Taking small, deliberate actions gives you a sense of control over the process and reduces the feeling of being overwhelmed. As you complete each manageable step, you experience small victories that build momentum and motivate you to continue. This consistent progress, even if it's just one small task at a time, adds up quickly. What once felt like an insurmountable challenge becomes a series of small, achievable actions, and each success propels you forward. By focusing on manageable parts, you give yourself permission to progress at your own pace without the pressure of feeling like you need to do everything all at once. This approach not only makes the task less daunting, but also helps you avoid the temptation of procrastination. Each step you take not only brings you closer to the finish line, but it also builds your confidence because you can see tangible progress. When you break things down, you take the power away from laziness and turn what seemed like an overwhelming task into a series of small, attainable goals. You're no longer standing still, frozen by the enormity of the challenge, but instead, you're moving forward steadily and purposefully. This approach makes it easier to stay motivated and ensures you're always moving closer to your goal. Time is one of the most precious resources we have, yet it's also one of the easiest to take for granted. Time doesn't wait for anyone, and every minute you waste is a minute you'll never get back. The longer you delay taking action, the more time slips through your fingers and the more you risk falling behind on your goals. This is why developing a sense of urgency is crucial if you want to overcome laziness and make real progress in your life. Without urgency, you'll find yourself endlessly putting things off, allowing procrastination to creep in, and convincing yourself that there's always tomorrow. Building a sense of urgency means shifting your mindset to treat time as something valuable, something that needs to be respected and used wisely. It's about recognizing that every moment counts and that your dreams and goals are not going to achieve themselves. If you let time drag on without urgency, nothing gets done. It's so easy to fall into a routine where you feel like you'll always have time later, but later never truly arrives. The tomorrow trap is the enemy of progress. One of the most powerful ways to create urgency in your life is by setting deadlines for yourself, even if they're self-imposed. These deadlines don't need to be arbitrary or extreme, but they must be realistic and concrete. A deadline gives you a target to aim for and helps you prioritize your time. It pushes you to act instead of sit idle. Because when there's a clear endpoint, you have a sense of purpose driving your actions. It prevents procrastination from becoming a habit and keeps you moving forward. Deadlines also help you manage distractions. When you know there's a specific time frame in which you need to complete something, you'll become more focused and less likely to waste time on things that don't matter. A sense of urgency forces you to make decisions quickly, minimize delays, and take the necessary actions without second-guessing yourself. Urgency is not about rushing through life or making hasty decisions. It's about being intentional with your time and knowing that every day is an opportunity to move closer to your goals. It's about training yourself to recognize the importance of acting now rather than later. The key is to make urgency your ally rather than something that adds stress. With urgency in your actions, you'll find yourself more productive, more focused, and more driven to achieve what you set out to do. Don't let procrastination keep you complacent. Embrace the power of urgency and make each moment count. Success is rarely about a single dramatic leap forward. It's about the quiet, consistent effort that compounds over time, even when the results aren't immediately visible. When you push through laziness day after day, no matter how small the action, you're building momentum. This momentum becomes a powerful force that propels you forward, making progress easier and more natural as you go. The more you persist, the more momentum you generate, and this is what allows you to reach your goals step by step, day by day. Consistency is one of the most underestimated yet powerful tools for success. It's easy to get excited about a new project or goal and work intensely at the beginning. But the real challenge and the real magic happens when you maintain that effort over time. Every small action, no matter how insignificant it seems in the moment, adds up. Consistency means showing up even on the days when motivation is low, when you're tired, or when other distractions try to pull you away. It's about doing what needs to be done, even if it feels like a slow and tedious process. When you make progress a habit, even if it's just a little bit each day, you begin to see how those small steps eventually lead to big results. Think of it like building a snowball. At first, it's small and manageable, but as you continue to roll it, it picks up speed and size. Consistency works the same way. You might not notice the change right away, but as time passes, the progress becomes undeniable. Those small, steady actions begin to add up, and eventually you've made significant strides toward your goal. Another benefit of consistency is that it creates a rhythm that becomes natural over time. When you keep pushing past laziness and stay committed to showing up each day, it no longer feels like a monumental effort. It becomes part of your routine, and your success starts to feel inevitable. You stop waiting for motivation to strike. Instead, you rely on habit and routine to keep you moving forward. The key to building lasting success isn't through sporadic bursts of energy, but through consistent, disciplined action. When you commit to staying consistent, you create a cycle of positive reinforcement. Each small achievement fuels the next, and before you know it, you've built a path of success that's as much about perseverance as it is about results. Success doesn't come overnight, but through sustained, relentless effort. If you can stay consistent and push through laziness, even on the days when it feels hard, you'll find that the momentum you build will carry you further than you ever imagined. Laziness is often rooted in our natural tendency to avoid discomfort. We are wired to seek comfort, and when faced with a challenging task, the instinct to procrastinate or avoid it can feel overwhelming. The fear of discomfort, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical, can create a barrier between you and your goals. However, growth never happens in the comfort zone. The truth is, the greatest rewards often lie just on the other side of discomfort. The more we try to avoid those difficult moments, the longer we stay stuck in a cycle of inactivity. When you feel resistance building, when your mind starts to tell you that it's easier to stay on the couch, scroll through your phone, or put things off until tomorrow, that's exactly the moment you need to push past. Resistance is normal. It's the part of you that wants to stay in the known, to avoid the unknown, to stick with what feels safe. But comfort never leads to progress. If you want to see change in your life, you must embrace the discomfort that comes with taking action. The hardest part is usually the first step. The mental barrier to starting is often much larger than the task itself. Once you make that initial decision to act, the weight of the task often becomes lighter, and the sense of overwhelm begins to fade. It's the anticipation of discomfort that makes things seem harder than they are. But once you begin, you'll quickly realize that the task is not as daunting as it seemed, and the path forward is clear. Action is the antidote to anxiety and resistance. The more you take action, despite feeling uncomfortable, the easier it gets to push through in the future. Taking action, even when it feels hard, is how you build resilience. It's how you develop the mental strength to tackle bigger challenges. Every time you step into discomfort, you train yourself to deal with uncertainty, difficulty, and adversity. The more you face these moments head-on, the more capable you become. This willingness to embrace discomfort doesn't mean you have to go in blindly or recklessly. It means choosing to step out of your comfort zone intentionally, knowing that growth happens when you push yourself. When you act despite your discomfort, you expand your capabilities and unlock your potential. So take action anyway. Even when you feel resistance, even when it's uncomfortable, act. You'll discover that once you push through that initial barrier, the path becomes less intimidating. The discomfort that once held you back transforms into fuel for your progress. And the more you lean into it, the easier it becomes to keep moving forward.